Here's the rack from the deer that I shot, 28 inches. This is kind of a good deer for this because the antlers aren't quite symmetrical at all. Your eyes stick out too far and it looks like your deer got kicked in the nuts. Taxidermy is Bondo and Bondo is taxidermy. Hopefully now you'll have some of the tools that took me years to acquire to mount your own critters. Welcome back to the channel. This is the How to Mount a Whitetail series. This is video number 9, or part number 9. Give them a face. We're there. We're almost there. All we have left to do is tuck the skin and put the ears into position. Now it's easier said than done. When you first do this, you're like, oh my gosh, what the hell do I do with all of this skin? It all will go somewhere. Just do one thing at a time and it'll get there. So let's just get going. I always do nose first. I'm gonna try to position myself in a way where I can do kind of everything here. Okay, so I always do nose first. Step 1 is I kind of get a sense for how big my nose pad is to the form. Now this is a Joe Coombs form, so the nose is kind of big, but it's a big deer, so everything's okay. I gently stretch this out. I gently stretch the nose out. It dries a little bit when it's sitting here, so gently pull on that. Now, the biggest thing here is I pull this back. There's some stitch marks from some stuff I had to fix earlier. Okay. And rebuild the nose pad. This is a crucial step. Don't skip this. I see a lot of people with crusty noses. We don't like crusty noses around this joint. So the nose pad was pretty close to the size of what I've got here for the form. So don't overdo it. You're not like rebuilding a whole nose here. There's probably, when I'm all said and done, I'm moving this around. Let's go with like 2 millimeters deep of actual clay. Once it's all moved into position. And again, don't use the cheap clay for this. Use the expensive clay. You don't want this shrinking too much. I'm gonna get that over there. I forgot my water bottle over there, which is fine. I might have to get in front of the camera for a second here so you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Maybe you will, but okay, so you get it kind of close. See how terribly textured it is? We're gonna wet it down and smooth it out. We want this butter smooth. Get your fingers wet too. Get it wet, get it moving. Start really working that clay around and just really smoothing everything up here. It's tight in this room, so when I go in front of it, I'm going to cover up some of the light. But, you know, and look at some reference of different deer's noses. You know, their nose isn't just like a one size fits all. Like some of them have a deep, you know, not crack, but ridge. They got a ridge on both sides with like a low spot in the middle. You know, you can kind of differentiate your mount from other people's mounts by playing with this a little bit. I just kind of do a standard nice smooth. There's something hard here. That's got to come out. Don't let that sit in there. I don't know if it was foam or... Not good. Okay. That is one good looking nose. Now, we take some glue. Well, let me close this bag. This clay is not cheap. I'm gonna close that bag. Put some clay, not some clay, put some glue on the nose. Some down there. There is plenty of glue in there. We're just gonna make sure we got glue. Now, take your finger, just give yourself, put some glue in here where the skin's gonna go. Give yourself a nice surface to put your nose pad on top of. Look at all that skin. Don't let it scare you. Think that's scary? Do a turkey. Got skin everywhere. It's disgusting. Okay. Part number 1. Okay, get this down. Slide your skin over. Just kind of be gentle. Don't push on your clay because you're going to screw that up. Now I take a pin. Just kind of work your skin down on your mouth and muzzle here. Pull this back. You want to pin down some anchors. So for starters, I'm going to kind of use a pin and I'm going to put my skin kind of roughly into shape here. There. I got a huge hole there that I had to sew and it did not sew nicely. So I will be fighting that a little bit. Make sure your skin is all sitting the right way. Okay, now this is being troublesome. Okay, so your white hair needs, you see the white hair here? You can't see it there. This white hair needs to be inside the nostril, not out in front. And that goes with the hair up here too. All of this white hair needs to be tucked in if it's in the right spot. So, we'll look at it from the straight on here. So pin some anchors down. The front of the nose pad looks nice. Take some pins and put them in the corner of the nose pad. Now you will pull these out later when you go to actually finish it with putty and paint. So put your pin in. That way, with your pin there, the nose pad will not move. Well, those anchors won't move. And the next thing we're going to pin is the top nostril. So I kind of pull this back. And then I use the pin and I wrap this around. Like I said, so you pull the white hair in. Okay, and I'm gonna have plenty of skin to do the other side. So we're gonna just pick that up. And we're going to put a pin in this side. Depending what form you have, like a Mackenzie form, this is not easy to put pins in and it will hurt your finger. So sometimes you need to use the tool to put that in. I'm gonna come over here so I can see a little bit better. Same thing here. And look across the top of your nose pad to see if everything's level. Pull this with a pin. Make sure these white hairs, like I said, are inside the nostril. Okay, that's looking good. Then you're going to use a pin. You're going to hold that in place. Okay, now these pins go right in because it's a Joe Coombs form and everything's soft. Like they just made the form. I don't know how long the forms sit there at Mackenzie, and then I think the foam just gets hard over time. That's just my thought. Well, that's why deer just took a huge gouge in the face. Just missing a bunch of hair there. Okay. That happens. We will fix that all with putty and paint. It will just disappear. Okay, now that's kind of in place. Just kind of roughly get that skin in. Later we'll throw some tissue in there to hold it in place while the skin dries. But we're going to tuck the lips first before we do that. Okay, nose pad's done. We're just going to keep right on rolling here. Now, next part you want to get in is the bottom of this nose. You want to tuck this in first before you do the lower lip line. So I start from the nose and then I work my way to, I go nose, corners, and then put the rest of the skin in. So we'll just do the nose first. It's weird, I can't grab a hold of it. That antler sits way up there. Okay, that skin needs to be pulled down. So I couldn't quite reach it. That's better. Kind of see where that lip line is. Okay, let's give this a good tug. See how my nose pad isn't moving? Because I have pins in there. Which is perfect, because I don't want it to move. I do need to pull this down though. Okay, let's put this in. Go right up the center of your chin, find the center of the nose, grab a little bit extra and just roll that skin right up in the form. This is that notch you cut out earlier. There's a little hole. Okay, the front of the mouth is in. So now we're going to tuck this corner of the mouth. I actually watched this on YouTube. Somebody went like this to find the corner. They pinched right here. So you kind of have where it is. Find the corner of your mouth, which is right here. And I kind of hold this with my thumb. And then give yourself some of the skin here from that lip. And you're going to tuck that into place. So the rest of that will go in along that lip line. But I'm going to do this side first. So I get my left and right. Go to the chin, straight back, pinch. So that is my back corner. You get it kind of in position, grab some skin here, and roll that up in. Now because I used that other tool and I made my lip line a little bit wider of a gap, this just rolls right into place. Okay. Now, You can see where that lip line is, where the tool is pushing up. That all gets tucked in. So just grab that skin, just push it up in there, and then keep on going. A little bit of glue. We'll take that and put it in the corner. Okay, let's do the other side. And really make sure you got it in there. So that when you put your lower lid, or your lower lip in, there's room for it. Okay, so top lip in. All right, so I just rolled the deer over upside down so that I could tuck this bottom lip, and I do this so that I can see the hairlines, just so that I keep everything even here. Because when you flip this over and I show you, like, there's a certain way this needs to go. So we're gonna start by taking this lower lip. Now, you're gonna see me just tuck the entire lip, all this right into the underneath the nose pad. Now, people might lose their mind watching me do this. Look at your reference photos. How often do you see that lower lip? Okay, for starters. Second, it's always in a shadow, so you're never really gonna see it unless you really go looking for it. And chances are, if you don't sit there and baby that thing, it's gonna look like hell. So, on most deer, this is my own deer. On most deer, I don't even bother with it. Just literally tuck it all in. You're not gonna see it. And that's okay. It's gonna cause you more of a headache in the long run. Okay, so that's tucked. I always start on the front, same with the top. I do the front first and then we move to the back and we get that tucked in there. So find that extra stuff and just push it on in. Now, when I was talking about why I flip these and really get a look at it is because you want to make sure, let me get this all. You'll know if it's not in the right place, there's a pinch in the corner, if the skin doesn't roll in there nicely. So there's these two dark spots on the bottom of his chin, here and here. And you want to make those line up with the appropriate upper spots so that it is even. Everything is symmetrical. Tuck that in there. Tuck that in. How we looking here? I'm gonna stand in front of this for a second. Make sure that the jawline white hair on the bottom here is symmetrical and even with the jawline on both sides. Big gouge out of the deer there that I had to sew. There's a pinch of skin here. So we're just gonna fix that. Okay, the bottom of our chin is all lined up. Skin's all in the right spot. Everything lines up nicely. There's a bubble in here, so we'll just work that towards the eyeball. Okay. And we'll roll him back over and put some tissue in his nose. Now that we have the nose pad in place and we have the lip tucked, let's get some tissue in our nostrils so that none of this moves. And it dries correctly. Okay, so we just kind of use a pin. I just use a pin to set it into place. Okay, this is a big, I said it's a big nose pad that I'm on the form. Fighting that a little bit. But we're gonna win. Okay. Get my skin in there and I just kind of get this. I use 4 pieces. These are long little tweezers and I just make sure. Just trying to keep this in there. You're pushing this against the foam and the form in there. Actually, I'm just going to use 3. So you're pushing it into the inside of the nostril up against what you left in there. So the skin will just take the shape of the inside of the nostril like you had set for it. Same on this side. This isn't bad because I moved it already. Take your tissue and you just stick it in there. And this will stay in as it dries. Won't be taking this out. Okay, 1 nostril completed. Get this in the second one. Right on. Now, what I do is I just start working the skin kind of down off of the bridge of the nose and back towards the eyes. And a big part is make sure that this is symmetrical, that the hairline here is symmetrical. Don't have that shifted and kittywampus. It's noticeable and it looks terrible. pull these out. Don't need those in there anymore. These are the pins I put in while I flipped it so that ear kind of held its shape a little bit. The skin wasn't sagging all over the place. Okay, well, we got that looking like 90%. Let's tuck the eyes. If you do have extra glue in here, you can pull the skin out and take your finger and wipe it out, but we are golden for that, so we don't need to do any of that. I use a pin and kind of set my skin relatively close to where it needs to go, but not perfect. This is the inside corner of the eye where this little piece is here, what do they call it, the caruncle? Maybe I'm wrong about that. But remember, I left this piece available. Like that is right into the foam, and I left it on purpose so that I can push this pin right in the corner where that like the skin goes there. It can't go anywhere else. So I tuck that sucker in there first. Now I do my eyelet next. Search around a little bit, find that channel that you made. Where is it? Right there. Use a different tool here. Okay, so there's that channel. You can see that hole. I don't want to tuck the back part in first. I don't want to tuck this in until later. That's my last piece. This piece has to go in first. And this goes all the way to the corner. So all this stuff gets rolled in there. Sometimes it takes a little bit of manipulating to get it there. But that's your job. You need to get that piece of skin all the way to the corner. Like that right there. You'll see that little colic of hair. That's something that took me forever to learn, that you need to get that all the way over. So just force it. And then you tuck the rest of this in on the front side. Like so. Then I grab the lower part and I pull that in last. And I leave enough clay around the outside of this, over here, and in front, so I can get it to close and stay closed. See that little piece of hair shouldn't be getting caught like that. So we got something in the wrong spot. There we go. It's a beautiful thing. Then I take some pins like 3, 4, how many I feel are necessary for each eyelet. And I tuck them in there. This is to hold the skin in place. We'll put 4 pins in there. 4 is a good number. We push them in. I like to go from the bottom up and just kind of cinches it together. You can see it kind of closing in on it. And then the rest of this, I just kind of close with the clay. And I will monitor this. I will monitor this over the coming days to make sure that that stays closed. How we doing on time here? 10 minutes? Cool. Okay, then I go, this is gonna be kind of hard because usually I'm right in there with it. Now you go to the back of the eye. Since the front's in, just like the nose and the mouth, I do the back or the front first, and then I go to the back of the eye. And you set that into its forever spot here. Feel it out. Okay. I can kind of feel that ball of clay that I left in there. And I pull this up. This is all the skin that I'm going to tuck. And then I work it down between the glass and the clay. Okay, bottom one's in. Now I use my thumb and kind of help. I need to pull some of this skin down. This is why we take that 3-finger measurement, or the measurement between the burr and the eye, because if you don't have the right skin here, this can cause some serious problems. Between here or the ear, it ain't good. So measure that, put it in the right spot. Let's get that up. I use a pin for tucking. It's kind of how I was taught. I don't really know of anything else. And I'm too cheap to buy anything. But if you've seen at the beginning, like we spent a lot of time putting the clay in the right spots so that when we get to this point, when you tuck the skin, you know, you're already in a position where you're not, you know, moving too much. Like we're gonna have success. There's a little bit of clay or glue between the edge of my skin here. There we go. Now I set it here where the eyelashes kind of point up. And then the lashes on the upper lid they actually point down. Again, these little tiny details are things that I will check. Like tomorrow when I get home from work, I'll come down here, check them, make sure that everything is drying appropriately. Okay, as of right now, we're pretty close. So we will jump over and do the other eye. It's not perfect today. A lot of this, you know, I'll do tomorrow. The really fine detail work. Just to set it all. Remember, the widest part of the deer eye opening is going to be right here. Front third. And then it comes in here on the back. Anyway, we got some monkeying to do with it, but we're close. So let's flip over to the other eye. All right. Just like the first one, find that piece that goes in the inside corner of the eye, which is right here. And that gets pinned into place first. Pin it to win it. Okay, it's in. Now, okay, kind of just get it kind of close here. Next thing to do is tuck in this part of the eye. So we need to pull this skin back, because remember, this has to go inside that channel that we made. And there's a lot of moving we got to do to get it over there. It's a little more glue on this side than the other side, which is kind of annoying. So, we got this little colic of hair all the way to the corner top. And then the rest of this is in. So now we slide in the lower lid here. This one is wanting to fight me a little, so I'm gonna put my pins in. So it'll stop moving around on me. I'm gonna put 5 in this one because it just is wanting to move a lot. And it's annoying me. I don't even know if I caught skin. Just felt foam. That one's got some skin. All right. Start on the bottom. Work our way up. Cool, that's in. Now we'll get to the back of the eye here. Right there. We'll grab our skin and push it into place. Once you get the skin tucked, I like to just kind of run my finger on here and work the glue and clay to get in there nice and good. Okay, now let's do the top lid. You know, and there's a lot of fighting that's going on right now, and that's the reason why I trim things so thin. Is if it was any thicker, you'd just be fighting so much more. And it's unnecessary because you can just take a couple extra minutes, trim it down, and there's just less fighting. Cool. Getting there. You could spend the next few hours pushing this eye skin and glue around. But what I like to do instead of that is tonight when I'm done, kind of getting it roughed in, I will put a plastic bag over this deer's face so that tomorrow when I get to it, it'll still be really pliable. Just really let the glue and skin tack up so that when I set it into place for the last time, it is just not gonna move. But we'll get her close tonight. So these eyelashes, they kind of come down over the eye, like so. How are we looking? We're looking okay. All right, now I pull the skin from up by the antler burr here down towards the bridge of the nose. And then I, for the last time, will pull the skin up. I'm I see it? Not really. I'll pull the skin up over my earbud here. That's why you don't want to put it on with the earbud too full. Kind of push that against the skull or the form a little bit. Okay, through the other ear. Pull this skin up onto the earbud. If you look at the earbud on reference photos, a lot of them are wrinkly. It's because the skin folds here around the muscles as it extends and turns. Okay. Pull this skin up over the back on this side a little. Nice. So the ear has a certain spot that it goes. They tuck up tight to the base of the back of the burr here. They really do. You should never be able to fit more than a finger here. Like, you shouldn't. The ear butt, it goes against it. Now, if it's a taller racked critter and they go straight up, then yeah, I mean, then they won't touch. But still, at where the burr is, where it comes off the form, the muscle from the ear is right behind that. So if you have your ear sitting way down here, that's wrong. It needs to be up tight. And I see that a lot. That's a pretty common mistake. Ears in the wrong spot. All right, stay with me here. We're on the home stretch. All we got to do is put the ears in place and get the whole top of the head kind of done. And then kind of just brush things out. Okay, so first part of the ears for me is to make sure that I keep, this ear butt tucked up tight to the base of the antler. I actually grab some of this extra skin that you see up here, and it gets pulled up towards the back of this burr. You've seen that? Because all this is kind of interconnected there. And then I do the same on the other side. Grab some of that skin. I pull it up under that clay that I put in the burr. Back when we were putting them together. Now there's quite a bit of glue in here yet, so it wants to not behave, but over the next day or two, all that will calm down and it will behave. Now, I'm putting pressure with my thumbs inside the ear, the apex. I'm putting pressures towards, like I'm squeezing them in while I'm kind of working them into place. You know, and this is when you get to choose, what do you want to do with the ears? Do you want them one forward, one back, both looking dead straight? Like, how do you want this to look? And it's a wide deer, so it, you know, I could kind of put the ears however I want, but this is just when you got to take a step back, look at it, and decide what you want to do. What does the deer telling you it wants to do? What does the deer say? Now we do have his eyes looking to the left. Do ears back, ears forward, ears like this. Look at that. No, I hate that. We'll just kind of do neutral ears. How about that? Neutral ears this time. For this particular one. I don't know, neutral looks kind of boring. It's not terrible. Neutral it is. So again, yeah, pull that base of that earbud up next to the pedicle. Push that ear in tight. And now, this is when I start pushing my clay towards the form. Do something slight with the ears so it's not perfect. Now is when I push some of that clay towards the deer and set the ears into position here. And push clay. So the first muscle I do is right here. You're going to squeeze this, work it towards the form, not too much. And then the bottom muscle here, we'll just transition that nicely into the form. Okay, and we do the same on this side. My ears are really wet yet, so this is something that I think will be easier done tomorrow than today. Because they're sagging a little bit. So tomorrow I'm really going to have to take some time and just make sure that this ear is in the right spot. But we're close. We'll come back tomorrow and dial that all in. We're just going to be sad and saggy tonight. That's okay. So then all this glue that I've worked towards the back from the ears here, I'm actually going to work it down towards the back of the mount. Kind of transition the ears to the form back here. And I'll work this back. Cool. Then do some brushing. Tomorrow we'll go in and we'll really set all this eye stuff. Today it's too wet. We're not even going to bother with it. We're just going to get her kind of close. Set ourselves up for success tomorrow. Like that. Got that tucked in there. Got a good freaking bubble there. Work that up towards the back. How about that side? No bubbles there. Everything's still straight. Here's my bubble. All right, and she gone. So that's it. I mean, that, in a nutshell, that's how I mount. Tomorrow I'll bring you through how I just kind of do the next day touch-ups, make sure everything's dialed in, and we'll set the crease in the eye, make sure the skin's going in the right spot, and we're drying good. Thanks for watching. It's been a long day. Hopefully now you'll have some of the tools that took me years to acquire to mount your own critters. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow to touch them up.